How you guys doing today? Jontae here, 43 Hoops basketball trainer. Just coming here to give you guys a beginner lesson. Okay, so small group, or if you have time for yourself to just do this lesson, it'll be about 15 minutes. But we're gonna get right into it. Some of the things that I want to tell you that we're gonna work on as far as beginners is ball handling. I mean, if you consider yourself a beginner, maybe this is your first, second year playing, maybe this is your the time you want to just pick up a basketball. One of the best things I can tell you is just pick up a ball, start dribbling. Because the only way you get to score on a court, unless you can shoot from half court, is by moving, and the only way you get to move on a court is by ball handling. And once you become secure at that, and a lot of us preach the same message, once you become secure at that, you can take your eyes off the ball. As a young basketball player, you become the best player in your team. Okay, because you can pass, you can score, you can look for open teammates. Like, that makes you one of the better players on your team. So as we get into this, as you guys can see, I'm at 43 Hoops facility. It is only me. Social distancing is working. So this is what I wanted to show you guys for beginners. We're gonna do a set of ball handling stuff. I'm actually gonna go through that workout with you guys today, then I'll come back to you and show you guys and explain to you guys why it is necessary that we do those things, or why it's necessary that I believe that you guys work on these things. So first things first, we're gonna go 50 dribbles with our right, 50 dribbles with our left. Now, I'm gonna have to back and forth from the camera, so I'll try to change my voice. If you guys find me yelling, I apologize. But here we go. So the first thing I'm gonna do, this is my right hand here. I'm gonna go 50 dribbles with my dominant hand. As a beginner, you wanna make sure that you're doing it the right way, right away. That way you can understand when you get to your opposite hand, or your hand that's not as strong, you will know like the expectation, right? You'll understand the expectation that you need from your left hand. So, or your opposite hand. So, I'm gonna go 50 dribbles right away, concentrating on my eyes being up. I'm in a low athletic stance. Now, for a beginner, if this is your first time ever here in a low athletic stance, I wanna make sure that my feet are more than shoulder width apart. More than shoulder width apart. Then I want to push my hips back first. I don't want to bend my knees right away, because if I bend my knees, it can look like this, right? So I don't want to bend my knees right away. I want to push my hips back, all the way back, so I can feel it tighten up in my hamstring. Then I'm just going to sit my butt straight down, all right? Now, depending on what hand we're talking about, you want to move that ball from hip to hip, right? That ball wants to be on your hip. And you'll hear that term more moving forward, hip to hip. But I want to move that ball from hip to hip, okay? So I'm starting with my right hand, my dominant hand. I'm going to keep that ball below my knees and preferably below my hips. Preferably below my knees, but for sure below my hips, all right? So I'm going to start. Here we go. As you guys can see, I'm going to concentrate on keeping my hips down. I'm working on my eyes, right? I'm looking around. It doesn't necessarily mean I have to look up. I know that's uncomfortable, but I'm going to use my eyes to scale and scan the court, just like I would in a game. Go to my left hand now. What I said earlier about your left hand is that you want to mimic the right way to do it with your right hand first, and then do it with your left hand. Ooh, out of the camera, my bad. Then do it with your left hand, okay? So with that being said, I'm gonna make sure that I concentrate and focus on doing it the right way, which means that if I have to look down, that's okay. Just remember to use your eyes, right? Remember to look up as often as possible. So, I'm gonna start in that low athletic stance again. Remember, feet more than shoulder width apart, pushing my hips back and then dropping them straight down, okay? So I'm in a seated position. I'm gonna try to concentrate on keeping my opposite hand, my less than hand, I'm gonna try to keep that hand, that dribble below my waist the entire time. Now, if you get really good at it, then concentrate on it being below your knee, okay? Like I said, if you need to look down and concentrate on doing it the right way, be my guest. Take a peek, look back up. Take a peek, look back up. Maybe, if it helps, you can count. So every 10 dribbles, maybe get through 10 dribbles, look down. 10 dribbles, look down. Make sure you work your way to 50, right? Good. Nice little warm up. But then we're gonna connect those, so we're gonna add some more stuff onto those dribbles. Now, I'm gonna go through all of them right now. I'm gonna go pound dribbles right, pound dribbles left, and then I'm going to go, then I'll go V dribbles, and then I'll go in and outs. Now the reason why I do those is because now, if you guys can see, I'm changing the height of my hand with controlling the basketball, right? So I'm low first, handling the basketball, then pound dribbles, I'm shoulder height, now I'm bringing the ball up high. V dribbles, I'm controlling the direction of that ball on the ground now. So this is a V dribble. We'll get there in a second. But now I'm controlling the path of the ball on the ground, right? And in and out, I'm controlling the path of the ball in the air. So not necessarily changing the spot on where I dribble, but I'm just changing the direction of the ball in the air. That makes sense? So now I'll go through 50 of each of those. I'll go here first, 50, shoulder height. I'm making sure when I do a pound dribble, it's gonna be the loudest thing in the gym, right? It's gonna be the loudest thing in the gym. Then I'm gonna go with my left hand. Now, mind you, I didn't go above my head, okay? Most of the time, if a referee sees the ball above your head, if you're in a game and the referee sees above your head, or even a friend, they might call a carry on you. So try to keep that ball nice and tight. And the more control you can build off a pound dribble, I believe personally that the more control you'll have over a lot of other dribbles. Pound dribbles are really hard because you're applying so much force to that ball, controlling it on the way up. It gives you a better ground for improvement as you move along with your ball handling. So now I'll do that with my left hand. I'm not gonna do all 50, but the amount I will do right now will be very intense, okay? I'm always gonna make sure that I'm game speed, I'm game-like, I'm playing with an intensity that would be replicated in a game, okay? So as I go through these ball handling things, all of my ball handling drills, always the same intensity, always the same pace. Good, so I'm gonna make sure I keep that same intensity. Now, there's something that I wanna make sure you guys understand. On pound dribbles, try not to smack the ball, okay? You wanna be able to control that ball with your fingers, and if you're smacking it, majority of the time, that control is coming from your palm, which isn't a lot. And a lot of times I show kids this. If you were to put the ball on your palm, right? Not a lot of control, as you guys can see here. Not a lot of control, but as soon as I get to use my fingers, more control, right? It's hard to turn that ball if I'm only using my palm. As soon as I use my fingers, I apply more control to that ball, okay? So make sure that you guys are using your fingers when you do your pound dribbles and you're not slapping the ball. I'll move right now into my V dribbles. So as I get into my V dribbles, I'm back and forth, and I've had a challenge about this, the V dribble drill. You just want to make sure that you are changing directions of the ball on the ground, and also you're working on your hand speed, right? I gotta beat the ball to the other side as I push it. So as I push the ball to the outside of my right side, I'm beating the ball over there. Inside, beating the ball over there. So you guys just want to work on this. Now these can be high dribbles. A lot of this is just working on the movement. I just want you guys to work and use the movement. But say this becomes too easy, challenge yourself. Apply a challenge. And some of my usual challenges that I go to is maybe you just look up, or maybe you work for speed, or maybe even close your eyes with a V dribble. So as I go through it, maybe I go for speed, I'm looking up, I close my eyes, right? There's a couple things that I can do. Once I get to my left, you can apply those challenges if it becomes too easy, or take your time, right? Catch a rhythm, make sure this is nice and easy for you with your, sorry, I keep saying left hand, with your opposite hand, your less than hand. Whenever you guys are doing this with your less than hand, that's what I'm gonna call it from now on. Whenever you're doing it with your offhand, you wanna make sure that you're using those fingertips and really concentrate on using those fingertips to dribble. I think one of the best things that I ever heard when I was growing up, one of the things that stuck in my head is that I gotta make sure that I'm doing everything that I can do with my right, with my left, right? And it's not saying you have to, it's not saying that it's gotta be overall the best thing ever, you gotta be ambidextrous. It's just saying that I gotta be able to do those things. I gotta be able to be willing to do those things. So if you concentrate on it and you put some effort into wanting to do those things, wanting to use my fingertips when I dribble, wanting to shoot with my left hand, wanting to lay up with my left hand, wanting to pass them out, if you concentrate on those things, you will become better. I do believe that. You will become better at those things. Last thing, in and outs. Now, I'm gonna sit here and talk to you for a second about in and outs. This is what I normally do if you guys have ever been to one of my classes. So one thing about in and outs is there's no referee here. There's no one here. There's not a human here. So if I'm working on my in and outs, I'm not gonna worry about carrying the basketball. Carrying is that thing I talked about earlier, too high. This is also a carry. Not gonna lie, if you pause the ball, turn it over, this is a carry in a game, but I see no referees, there's no whistle, there's no heat too, I should tell you that, Tom. I'm just kidding. There is no one here to tell me that I'm doing something wrong. So if I'm gonna perfect my craft as far as an in and out, I'm gonna make sure that I get the full range of motion in it, right? Just like if I was shooting, I'm gonna make sure that I shoot the correct way and all the way, right? I'm not gonna half step it. So with an in and out dribble, I'm gonna do the same thing. So as a beginner, when you're working on this in and out move, go ahead and catch the ball. Catch the ball at your hip, and then another rule of thumb I have for you is go across your belly button. Make sure you push that ball all the way across your belly button, okay? Catch it at my hip, across my belly button. Now, as a beginner, this might be the only thing I do. I know 50 is a lot, but 50 is gonna get you to a point where you feel comfortable with it, okay? So this might be the only thing I do. Now, as I become more advanced, right, as I become better at my in and out, maybe I can start working the ball lower. Right? Even lower. Still trying to touch my belly button, or still trying to get it to my belly button, but now that ball's getting lower, and all it means is I'm just turning a little bit quicker, right? Less room for error, some would say. This is a lot of room for error. Wouldn't really do this in a game. Less room for error as I work myself lower, okay, to the ground. So I'll go 50 there. Left hand, a lot of the same things, especially with your left hand. I know that ball becomes harder to turn over. So catching it, going across your belly button, catching it, going across your belly button, catching it, going across your belly, that is fine. That is absolutely fine. And don't let anyone tell you different. Yes, work your way to a better pace. Yes, work your way to be better at it. But when you're just learning something, like a beginner group, you want to make sure you take your time, okay? Now, with that being said, as I go through all those things, all of those dribbles, I do all 50 of those dribbles, I got to be able to move, right? That's what I started with. So you got to be able to move with those dribbles. So right now, I'm just going to go across the lane. You guys see this little orange volleyball line? I'm going to go across that lane. Now, on your court, or maybe if it's in your driveway, backyard, wherever you are doing these ball handling things for this beginner class, you guys can do those maybe the length of the driveway, maybe doubling up. So if you have a shorter driveway, double up, maybe do each of these 2 times. But the things that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go right hand low to one side. When I come back, left hand. Then I'm gonna go right hand pound dribbles. Then I'm gonna come back, left hand. Okay, then I'm gonna go back, V dribbles, in and outs. That'd be enough movement for me today. And that's a lot of dribbles. Okay, especially depending if you have a decent sized driveway or a decent sized court. Okay, now I also like to tell beginners at this time to put your feet with the basketball. That way you can work on your footwork as well. Not something huge, not something dramatic, but put your feet with the ball. One of the things that I do with low dribbles is I make kids do 3 dribbles per step. And the reason why I do 3 dribbles per step is because I want to see you, or I want you to see yourself controlling the ball and not letting it control you. Now, if you are a beginner kid, you've probably done this with me, and you can see that the ball will get away and all of a sudden you start losing your position. As you guys can see me, as soon as I want to be low at all times playing basketball, but once I do that, I see some of my kids do this. And now I'm off balance. Now I'm out of control. Now I'm top heavy, right? Now the ball's farther away from me. So concentrate on getting those 3 dribbles per 3 steps instead of just dribbling however you feel like dribbling, right? And not saying that you can't, just saying you want to be able to control the basketball. You don't want it to control you. So I'm going to do my 3 dribbles per step for my low dribbles. Step, step, step. Once I get to the other end, left hand. Now, one thing I always try to tell my kids is, again, no referee. After you take your 3 dribbles, catch the ball. Catch the ball. Okay? And our coach A-Rob, if you guys know who Coach A-Rob is, he has a really amazing drill for dribbling and just stepping. So if you're a beginner dribbling and just walking, we teach it to a lot of our junior hoops kids. Some of our kids that come in for our summer camps, we teach it to those kids, and they do a really good job of just understanding that there is 1 dribble per 2 steps. And that's an important thing when you start to apply footwork to ball handling. Right? So all of your favorite athletes, all your favorite basketball players, from Tisha Pinachero to Candace Parker to James Harden, Steph Curry, they all have this. They have a foundation of footwork and a foundation of ball handling, and they've learned to mesh those things together. Okay? So now when we go on to pound dribbles, I'm going to try to get 1 pound dribble per step now. So now I'm going to even out my dribbles and my steps. And this is more or less for me just to be able to control the ball with my body, right? So as I go across the lane, it's 1 dribble per step. Okay? Going on my way back, left hand. Not gonna lie, I look down a lot so I don't lose the ball. But it's okay, right? Get my eyes up when I remind myself, get my eyes up. Now, that is another one just to make sure the ball, you're controlling the basketball, it's not controlling you, okay? Now as I go to V dribbles, I'm gonna speed up my feet a little bit. So I'm still gonna go 1 dribble per step, but now I'm gonna work my way to be a little bit faster with my V dribble. So as I go across, 1 dribble per step. Now as you guys can see, as I go to my left with the basketball, as I go to my left, I'm gonna step with my left foot. To my right, right foot. Important thing that kids forget, and even our beginner kids, I'll try to make sure I stick to the name, I forget, I ramble. But important things that our kids forget is that they forget that going or stepping with the basketball doesn't always have to be a huge step. It's not a lunge, right? You don't have to take a huge step. I'm gonna take these short steps. That way my feet stay closer together, and when I have to change directions in a game, in a sport, the closer they are, the better it is, the easier it gets for me to change direction. So, you guys can see my feet, they almost never leave each other, right? You almost never see that space in between my feet. Still work my way down, keeping that space in between my feet, okay? Now, the last thing I'm gonna do, last thing I wanna show you guys is the in and out. Now this one becomes a little bit tougher, and also something that I think that if you guys are doing this, you guys should really be sure to like concentrate on the footwork and then holding the basketball. I talked about it earlier about just forget it, palm the basketball, who cares? This is a good time. This is a great time to just palm it, work on the feet. Now, same rules apply as I did with my B dribble. When I'm moving that ball to my left, I want to make sure that I go across my belly button and I'm stepping with my left. Okay? So I haven't dribbled yet, but I'm stepping with my left. On the return of that basketball, when I'm pulling it back for my in and out, I'm going to be going with my right foot. So this is why I said it's very important that you concentrate on your feet and don't worry about it, because it's still only 1 dribble, right? Now we're opposite of where we started. We did 3 dribbles per 1 step. Now we worked our way to 1 dribble per 2 steps. And as I mentioned, Coach A-Rob does a great job of drilling this and explaining this to kids. So now we're just kind of advancing our footwork, right? And it's something that you're gonna just do as a warm-up, or as a dribbling drill, as a dribbling set. So again, ball starts on my right hip. As I push it, I'm stepping. I'm coming back across with my dribble and my right foot. Again. Let me back up so you guys can see my feet, my bad. As I step across, back to my right. Sounds like somebody's here. There's no one here. As you guys can see though, the ball handling, the in and out dribble, and doing that with your feet, it's not an easy task. It's fairly tough. But it's something that I think is very important. And when I talk to my beginners, when I have any beginner class, you guys, and I'm gonna finish with this, when I have any beginner class, I make sure that we go over at least 30 minutes of ball handling. I do not venture off into anything else except for at least 30 minutes of ball handling. And I said it at the beginning of this, I'll say it again, and I coach a 4th grade team, a fairly good 4th grade team, but even with those guys being at the skill level that they're at, I make sure that we have a lot of ball handling in practice. And the reason being is that if you become the teammate that can dribble and pass, you guys, if you can dribble with your eyes up, if you become the dominant ball handler on your team, then you'll be able to see the entire court. You know when to take your layup, or when you're close enough to take your shot, when you're close enough to make a pass, where the defender is. It is vital. It is very vital that you guys learn to dribble, period, and then also get better with dribbling with your head up, okay? Once again, I appreciate you guys watching this video. This is just a ball handling segment. I will release more of these for our beginner group, but right now I just think it's important that you guys go over those. I know I'm in the gym, but that is something that you can produce at home, right? You can do that at home, all those ball handling things. My next class, I will move on from that and being able to move into a score, right? Because nobody just wants to see you dribble for 25 minutes. Maybe, unless you're on the Harlem Globetrotters, right? But nobody wants to see you do that. So my next segment for my beginner group, I will be connecting some of these dots with ball handling into our layups, okay? Thank you guys for joining me. Jontae, 43 Hoops Academy in Hopkins, Minnesota. If you guys have any questions, or if you want to reach out, or if there's something that you missed, do this, because I talk all over the place. If there's something that you missed throughout this entire drill, just make sure that you reach out to any of our accounts. We have 43 Hoops, that's on Instagram. We have 43 Hoops Academy, that's on Facebook. Please make sure you reach out, and you guys can get a hold of any of us, any trainers that you'd wish. All right? Thanks, guys. Have a good one.